These gratifications do you feel? Identification with the characters, entertainment, escapism, or a social?
I would say escapism because they're normally unrealistic films.
What sort of characters do you expect to see in a thriller?
Usually a victim and usually some form of villain.
What sort of camera shots and angles do you expect in a thriller?
Extreme close-ups as they get to add suspense as you can't see the full picture, and maybe high angle shots to make possibly the victim feel vulnerable or feel on edge and helps the audience to feel the same.
And what sort of colours would you associate with a thriller?
Usually dark colours or possibly red to connotate to blood or possible goriness.
And do you expect to understand the opening sequence of a thriller, or do you expect to be intrigued?
Usually you don't, because they like to put you in suspense as you don't know what to expect to happen.
Do the opening sequences of thrillers you've seen draw you in from the start?
Usually as they build you in suspense and you don't know what's going to happen, you want to carry on watching.
What do you like about the opening sequences of thrillers you've seen?
The fact that I don't know what's going to happen and you're on edge and you're feeling the suspense that the victim or the characters are.
When what these gratifications do you feel? Identification with the characters, entertainment, escapism, or social?
Entertainment.
What sort of characters do you expect to see in a thriller? Heroes, villains, victims, heroines?
Victims.
What sort of camera shots and angles do you expect in a thriller? Close-ups, long shots, high angle, low angle, extreme close-ups?
Extreme close-ups.
What sort of colours would you associate with a thriller?
Dark ones, black and stuff.
Do you expect to understand the opening sequence of a thriller, or do you expect to be intrigued?
To be intrigued.
Do the opening sequences of thrillers you've seen draw you in from the start?
Sometimes.
And what do you like about the opening sequence of thrillers you've seen?
So there's like a story behind it, like a reason.
Do you feel identification with the characters, entertainment, escapism, or social?
Escape.
What sort of characters do you expect to see in a thriller?
An antagonist, a protagonist, probably a femme fatale.
What sort of camera shots and angles do you expect to see in a thriller?
Lots of close-up to look at the emotions of the other characters.
What sort of colours would you associate with a thriller?
Probably lots of black, there'll be red in there. Yeah, those are the colours, that's it.
Do you expect to understand the opening sequence of a thriller, or do you expect to be intrigued?
No, it'll be surrounded by a lot of mystery. That's what I think.
Do the opening sequences of thrillers you've seen draw you in from the start?
Yeah.
What do you like about the opening sequences of thrillers you've seen?
Yeah, just the mystery surrounding them, unique plots.
When watching thrillers, which of these gratifications do you feel? Identification with the characters, entertainment, escapism, or social?
Mostly identification with the characters.
What sort of characters do you expect to see in a thriller?
Mainly a victim and a villain as well.
What sort of camera shots and angles do you expect in a thriller?
I think close-ups are good as they show the expression on the actor's face, which makes it more realistic, as well as like high angles to show vulnerability of other characters.
What sort of colours would you associate with a thriller?
Dark ones like greys and blacks, really, that's it.
Do you expect to understand the opening sequence of a thriller, or do you expect to be intrigued?
I prefer to be intrigued, so.
Do the opening sequences of thrillers you've seen draw you in from the start?
Yeah, mostly, because they're quite exciting.
What do you like about the opening sequences of thrillers you've seen?
As the way like you're on the edge of your seat from the start, and yeah.
When watching thrillers, which of these gratifications do you feel? Identification with the characters, entertainment, escapism, or social?
Entertainment, really, because it's kind of good to be scared.
What sort of characters do you expect to see in a thriller?
There's normally a good guy and a bad guy, or a group of friends that gets murdered.
What sort of camera shots and angles do you expect to see in a thriller?
Normally extreme close-ups to the murder weapon or some clues that are around the scene.
What sort of colours would you associate with a thriller?
Normally red to do with blood and black to do with dark scenarios.
Do you expect to understand the opening sequence of a thriller, or do you expect to be intrigued?
No, I like to be intrigued by the confusion of the actions that are going around, They normally start off with murders or crimes anyway.
Opening sequences of thrillers you've seen draw you in from the start.
Yes.
What about the opening sequences of thrillers you've seen?
They entice me in with some scary things.
When watching thrillers, which of these gratifications do you feel? Identification with the characters, entertainment, escapism or social?
I think identification with the characters.
What sort of characters do you expect to see in a thriller?
In a thriller, I probably expect to see probably a hero, a villain, and maybe someone helping the hero, or maybe someone helping the villain.
What sort of camera shots and angles do you expect to see in a thriller?
In a thriller, I expect to see quite a few point of view shots, a variety of high angle and low angle shots. Yeah.
What sort of colours would you associate with a thriller?
Lots of dark, low key colours, like different, like black and greys. Yeah, just dark colours.
Do you expect to understand the opening sequence of a thriller or do you expect to be intrigued?
What?
Do you expect to understand the opening sequence of a thriller or do you expect to be intrigued?
Intrigued. Something with an ending that's good.
Do the opening sequences of thrillers you've seen draw you in from the start?
They should do, because otherwise I'll probably get bored and not listen to the story, like listen to it properly.
What do you like about the opening sequences of thrillers you've seen?
I particularly like, it's not so much a thriller, but Lord of the War, I like the way that they follow along with the bullet and sort of with the point of view shot as if you were a bullet. And I also like the ones when it leaves you confused, very much confused, so you want to watch the rest.